Hi guys, how's it going? In today's video we're going to take a look at, and to be honest, we're going to speculate on who will take over as leader of the Conservative Party. Given the rumblings of an increase in national insurance, who knows what's going to happen? But with Johnson seemingly ignoring public opinion, along with some big hitters in the Conservative Party for the first time since entering politics, Johnson appears to be taking a road that he's never travelled on before. And what I mean by this is Johnson has always taken the road well travelled, that either appeased his detractors or conformed with populist agenda, or sometimes both. Not in this situation, it appears. So let's go. It appears that he has failed to weigh the public's appetite for a shift in public spending, along with ignoring the views of those newly elected Conservative MPs, both in, especially obviously in the red wall seats, and also ignoring those guys in the marginal seats, those 39 Conservative marginal seats with less than a 5,000 majority, okay? What also cannot be denied is that Jacob Rees-Mogg, for the first time, has broken from tradition and has warned openly and without fear of misinterpretation here, I can say he said that voters will remember in reference to increasing the tax for the national insurance. Now, Jacob Rees-Mogg has also been joined by the former Chancellor Philip Hammond, who has already said openly that he will vote against such a court of action in the House of Lords. Now, what we cannot forget here for a second is that Johnson is far from popular with his counterparts in the House of Lords. They have not forgotten, or are they likely to forget, that Johnson's move both on the internal market bill and on the proroguing of Parliament is still sticking in their craw. Now, in this graph that you're seeing on your screen right now, which was released by the Conservatives' own grassroots supporters on www.conservativehome.com, it is clear beyond a shadow of a doubt that Johnson's position is already untenable. Raab, who was once set for further promotion, simply cannot be considered, and Patel, who's also in the same boat, cannot be considered. As a sounding board to what is going on at the low to mid-high kind of level, not at the very top, but low, mid and medium high of the Conservative Party, and as we've discussed before, the www.conservativehome.com is really a great barometer of the feelings of party members on the ground, with 4 times the viewing time and double the membership. It's a serious piece of propaganda, news, call it what you will, for the Conservative Party. More importantly, however, was the reaction of those senior Conservative MPs who are fully aware that Johnson has outlived his usefulness. They are more focused on the party and the next election than they are about the populist antics of Boris. The question now is not whether he can sell breaking the tax and spend promises to his parliamentary party, but whether or not he will be in a position to even table that motion before the House of Cards comes crumbling down. It's that close. But with Jacob Rees-Mogg publicly breaking ranks to warn Bojo the Clown that he risks losing the next election if he pressed on with the plan, that was weird. And we also have to bear in mind Mogg's very close association with the ERG and the 1922 committee. And of course, nobody can doubt his astute political brain. He seems clear in his mind that Johnson no longer has anywhere to hide on this one. He's exposed. With the story being leaked just before the weekend and the immediate pushback from senior Conservative members across the board, it seems that Boris has been set up for a fall. No matter what way he now turns, doesn't matter. If he proceeds with it, he'll get the blame. And those that oppose him will reap the rewards. Okay, if he backs down, it'll be open season on party leadership. Either way, the game is on and Johnson is the quarry. No doubt. The view was compounded by the news that a Treasury source has reported that though the PM seems in an invincible mood rather in meetings, Rishi Sunak's team proposed a series of cheaper alternatives, but none works for the PM. Now, apparently they are haggling over the cap. That's what they're haggling about. Meanwhile, others are reporting that the rise is a fait accompli. So, very interesting times ahead. Very interesting. But all of that being said, there is another point that needs to be questioned, or at least discussed, and that is the NHS waiting list. I was quite surprised with this. The NHS have said that on top of COVID issues, they have a 5.5 million backlog of patients to get through on top of the long COVID cases that need to be dealt with. Now, when I heard this figure, I have to say that I was quite taken aback. This figure implies that over an 18-month period, 8.1% of the entire UK public are either in hospital or require outpatient treatment by the NHS. That means 1 in 12 people across our entire population requires hospitalization or treatment. I'm sorry, but I have to call that figure. That figure just doesn't make sense. Not to me, just doesn't make sense at all. And I worry why it's being circulated. Unless the NHS Board of Management are playing games. The only way that percentage could be genuine would be A, if there's a massive backlog, or B, well, actually, no, wait, there is no B. But how could they spend that extra funding? It's not on facilities, hardly on facilities. It may be on some equipment, but that would be limited, which leaves only medical staffing costs. Okay? Now, we already know that the NHS have a chronic shortage of medical care workers. This is not news. So who exactly are the NHS going to give that money to? Because it's sure as hell, it isn't all going to new staff, because Priti Patel and the Brexit numpties have seen to that. And before the numpties start shouting, oh, we all know that nurses are on the list. Yeah, we know they're on the list, but their partners ain't, their children ain't, neither are their husbands. Predictably, there has been little or no uptake or interest by foreign nationals who can earn a lot more money in the Middle East working in the medical care industry without the racism rhetoric. We also know, by the way, that there are 1.3 million staff in the NHS, okay, whose salary increase is 3%. That accounts for 1 billion, okay? That's the average figure. Now, on a side note, by the way, this also highlights a glaringly obvious mismatch. Think about this for a minute. There are 480,000 medical staff in the NHS. This means that at any one time, you have 120,000 working. Okay, you've got 4 shifts. You've got 3 working every day and 1 resting. That's the way it works, okay? They're being administered. Are you ready for this figure? They're being administered by 900,000 non-medical staff. 900,000 non-medical staff are administering 480,000. That doesn't make sense. Now, I don't know about you, but that figure seems completely out of whack. So let's take a look at the explanation.
Well, you talk as if the staff had nothing to do simply because there are no patients there.
What do they do?
Oh, first there's a contingency department for fires, strikes, air raids, nuclear war, epidemics, food or water poisoning. Then there's the data and research department, maternity, geriatrics, pediatrics, and the male-female balance. Then, thirdly, there's finance, of course. Then there's the purchasing department for purchasing medical and other equipment and catalogs.
Purchasing what?
Well, everything, Minister. Everything from brain scanners to brass. Fifth, there's the technical department for evaluating equipment. Sixth, there's the building department. And finally, administration.
Oh, administrators. More administrators to administrate the other
I
administrators.
hope you enjoyed that one. I love that series. And all joking aside, let's get back to it. The country's tax burden is already the highest it's been since the late 1960s. So Sunak, who is tipped to be the next PM, will not be overly popular with the electorate, nor is he popular with the ERG or their financial backers. And here's why, okay? Sunak's move to rise corporation tax in the last budget from 19% to 25%. Okay, that is almost a 33% increase. And that becomes applicable in 2023. This means that apart from there being as much chance of multinationals investing in the UK in any meaningful way as there is of the sun rising in the West, Sunak will not be flavour of the month with those party donors. He simply won't be. Secondly, despite the majority currently held by the Conservatives, none of them are in any way oblivious to the fact that they won those extra seats only because of 400,000 votes from Labour in those red wall constituencies. And those areas in the north of England have had little to celebrate since those seats were vacated by the traditional Labour Party stalwarts. They have nothing to celebrate at all. Anyway, despite the resistance to the national insurance hike, for some cabinet ministers, another source says the rise is already fait accompli. In a short time, we'll know. Meanwhile, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and all that sort of stuff. And I'll see you on the flip side. Take care.